Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Music Theory Mondays. Today we're going to be doing more harmonic analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the jazz tune All of Me. And at the beginning of this video, the intro, I did play the part I'm going to be analyzing so you could hear the chords and the melody together, get some idea of what we're dealing with here. The first chord within the song is a C6. It should be mentioned up front that the song is most definitely in the key of C major, and the C6 is functioning as the 1 chord. All right. The E7 is a dominant chord, as you guys probably know. All 7s are 5 chords, and all 5 chords are dominant chords. It's the chord that basically resolves the progression back to the 1 chord. And what's really cool about dominant chords is that you can throw them into progressions, into songs, where they're not actually in the key of the song. And that's exactly what they're doing here. The E7 is not the 5 of the key of C, right? As you can see on the screen, the 5 of the key of C is a G7. So the question is, what's up with the E7? The E7 is what we're going to call a secondary dominant chord. And if you guys have no idea what a secondary dominant chord is, please make a note to go back into my Music Theory Mondays playlist and check out. I have 2 videos on secondary dominance as an introduction. So if you have confusion on that, please go back and check that out. The E7 is the 5 of the key of A. Okay? And so the next chord is in fact an A chord. But we're not resolving to an A minor or an A major. We're actually resolving to an A7. So it's a 5 chord, that's a secondary dominant, resolving to another 5 chord, that's also a secondary dominant, that's then going to resolve itself to a D minor 7. Now the D minor 7 has 2 functions here, okay? It's a resolution point for the A7. So instead of calling it a 5 to 1 in the key of D minor, because the D minor is actually the 2 chord in the key of C, we're going to call this resolution a 5 of 2. So the D minor is the 2nd chord of the key of C, and the A7 is the 5 of D minor, so we're calling that A7, which is the secondary dominant, we're calling that a 5 of 2. All right, that brings us back around to the next line. We're throwing in the E7 again, which is the secondary dominant that showed up earlier in the progression. That is going to resolve itself to the next chord, which is A minor 7. Now, A minor 7 is the resolution for the E7 because E is the 5 of A. However, it is not going to be considered the 1 chord. It is actually going to be considered the 2 chord in the key of G and the 6th chord in the key of A. Now, it's both of those things regardless of the song. What's going on here is that the A minor 7 is the resolution point for the E7 as a 5 to 1, right? Specific to that 2 chord progression. But the A7 is also the 2 in the key of G, and the reason I bring that up is because the next chord after the A minor 7 is the D7, and the D7 is the 5 of G. So we have overlapping chord progressions with the chords having multiple functions all at the same time to link all these different movements together. So the E7 to A minor 7 is a temporary 5 to 1. But the A minor 7 is also doubling as the 2 chord in G, which then creates a 2 to 5 with the D7, a 2 to 5 in G. And then the last 2 chords of the section are D minor 7 to G7, G7 being the 5 of C. So that we end up with another 2 to 5. So this whole song is in the key of C, but we're using secondary dominant chords that resolve to temporary 1 chords, but those 1 chords are also doubling as 2 chords and 6 chords in various keys. There's also the very common jazz progression, the 2-5, happening at the end of this, with the A minor 7 to D7 being a 2-5 in G, and then the D minor 7 to G7 being a 2-5 in C. Whew, that was a lot. I hope that made sense to somebody out there. If you're confused and you need more explanation, please leave it in the comments below, and I will make a addendum video to this where I will go further in depth. But I feel like if you've been following my series thus far, you should be good. If anybody has any questions, comments, subscribes, I would appreciate it. As always, take care and have a great day.